should listen to Japan on nuclear threats. We should take Japan's word when they call out human follies. We should, but do we?
The Bombardier's supreme test is at hand as the bomb bay doors open. The bomb is away. It's falling.
Well, in the 8 decades since the bomb was created and since Oppenheimer became the destroyer of worlds, only 2 atomic bombs have ever been dropped in military use. And both of them were dropped to make the empire of Rising Sun surrender. On August 6, 1945, Hiroshima was devastated by a single atomic bomb that instantly killed tens of thousands and eventually claimed lives of over 140,000. Little boy wrath hell on earth, but before military, civilians or scientists could even piece together what happened in the Japanese city, Fat Man struck. Within seconds, Nagasaki was wiped out. The trauma still echoes not only in the aging survivors but in our collective conscience, or at least what's left in it. As the world commemorates the 80th anniversary of this tragedy, Hiroshima's mayor Kazumi Matsui used this occasion to fiercely remind global leaders that the lessons of history are being ignored. In fact, Matsui urged world leaders to visit Hiroshima to bear witness to the devastation which still haunts people of Japan. Yet today, we find ourselves on the precipice once again, staring down the barrels of headlines that seem to drop with nuclear peril. Each one a signpost directing us away from Hiroshima's peace bell and towards a reckless disregard for a nuclear threat. In the last week alone, President Donald Trump announced the positioning of 2 US nuclear submarines near Russia. And this happened after a war of words between Donald Trump and Russia's foreign president. Trump cited provocation statement by former president, who, for his part, openly taunted Washington by invoking Moscow's Soviet-era nuclear capabilities.
Well, we had to do that. We just have to be careful. And a threat was made, and we didn't think it was appropriate. So I have to be very careful. So I do that on the basis of safety for our people. A threat was made by a former president of Russia, and we're going to protect our people.
Simultaneously, the Russian government declared that Moscow would no longer abide by its self-imposed moratorium on deploying intermediate and short-range nuclear missiles, a key remnant of the now defunct INF Treaty. In fact, Russian officials blame Western threats and US actions for making continued restraint impossible, with explicit warnings of further steps to come. The treaty, originally designed to eliminate an entire class of nuclear weapons and build mutual confidence, is now a casualty of great power rivalry, with any mutual restraint cast aside as a relic. Meanwhile, in southern Iran's Shiraz, reports have emerged of a major explosion at an IRGC missile facility, following months of heightened regional tensions and a string of attacks including Iranian missile strikes on US air bases. And all of this, of course, after the Israeli Defense Forces later on, backed by American troops, struck Iran's nuclear site. That's not an error. They struck nuclear sites. Such incidents involving facilities potentially lead to missile and nuclear ambition underscore not only the risk of international conflict, but also the hazard of accidents and miscalculation in an environment already saturated by mistrust and secrecy. Never forget Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's just a phrase now. German philosopher Hegel once said that the only thing we learn from the history is that we learn nothing from history. At the 80th anniversary ceremony, Hiroshima's mayor did not mince words. Many are saying he spoke like the world leader we need in today's discourse. In fact, he said, and I quote, "These developments fragmentally disregard the lessons the international community should have learned from the tragedies of history." He further warned that the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty itself is teetering, on the verge of dysfunction, a condemnation echoed by survivors and world leaders alike. The anniversaries come, the ceremonies are held, but then the world resumes its arms race and nuclear callouts. In fact, is the doomsday clock ticking closer to midnight, and the horrors of Hiroshima remains more of a somber ritual than a real deterrent? Well, it seems there is a collective amnesia and willingness to confront the persistent and growing global nuclear danger. At a time when the true terror of nuclear weapon should be the lesson etched into every policy, every strategy, and every diplomat's talking points, we see instead a reckless normalization of nuclear threats. If the world keeps looking away, the story of Hiroshima may yet become a prologue rather than a warning.